Hey guys, it's time for video number 3 in the Kitchen Table Stamper Ringed with Nature Stamp-A-Stack series. If there are class packets available still for this Stamp-A-Stack, you can check out kitchentablestamper.com/shop. If you've been watching the series, you've seen the content of the kit. This is it. It makes 8 cards, 2 each, of 4 designs with extras to play. Lots of designer series paper, great variety of embellishments are in this kit. You're going to make 8 cards. This is the 3rd card in the series. It makes 2 of this happy anniversary card. If you missed the first card in the series, I'll link it up below. We made Get Well Soon. And card number 2 is this Thinking of You card. And let's get started with this one. In video number 1, we took the half sheets of crumb cake and soft suede from the kit and cut them in half. We've got a soft suede card base here. This is 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4, and we're going to do our embossing and we're going to make our awesome wood slices right now using the hybrid embossing folder. This is the tree rings embossing folder and dies. They work together to make these gorgeous tree rings, and if you've watched the other videos, you've seen me do this. We're gonna make a second set here because you have to do 2 times to make the 8 cards. So here we go. Let's do our second set. The first thing we're gonna do is emboss our card front. We're gonna go through the stages of how this folder and dies work together. And we want to emboss the card front. I'm going to take my soft suede card, pop the front into the folder to get kind of a level, straight design. I'm going to line up the bottom of the card with a line along the Stampin' Up! Logo. Slide the card base through the machine. It's on number 1. We're going to add number 4. We're going to very carefully emboss the whole card front. So we want to make sure that our folder is not going to scrape on either side of the machine before carefully cranking. And there is the first use of this folder. That is the embossed design that it will do. Now let's do an emboss and cut. We want the 4 largest rings for our project here. So we are going to grab the die. We're going to pop this into the folder. And there's only one way that this is going to pop into the folder and fit rightly. And that's it. So it's on the side with the Stampin' Up! Logo, and it actually has little grooves and it fits. Now we want the 4 largest, so we're going to line up our soft suede cardstock to cover those 4 largest rings completely. This little one's not going to go entirely with a card front size like this, but that's okay because for the 8 cards we're making, we need 2 each of the largest size. So now we've got our embossing folder. Now we've got our embossing folder and the die. We're going to run. Now this is going to give us embossed and die cut wood slices. So let's take this away. And now we have the 4 large wood slices. This is the bark portion. Now let's do the wood portion. For that, we're going to add the next layer of dies. And we've got these 4 largest tree rings. And we're going to just match up the characteristics, the identifying characteristics. So these little knobs, these little nodes that are inside. See these rounded features like this? We're going to find those and line up. And that's how we'll know that we've got the right die inside the right tree ring. And we just slide until it catches. It actually fits in a groove. All right, then our last one here. Uh-oh. It's got a flat side right here. That's where I look for. This little flat side goes in the flat side right there. All right, and the more you do this puzzle, the faster you'll be at it too, I'll tell you that. Now this time we want these center pieces. So we're gonna line up our cardstock so that we can get all the pieces we're concerned with. Now you can also, if you just want one tree ring, you could cut a smaller scrap. If you want all of them in one pass, you can cut a little bit bigger piece. But we've got a 1/4 sheet of cardstock here, and that is going to be sufficient to do the 4 tree rings that we need. We're going to do that 2 times because we cut our paper in half in the first video. That'll give us the 8 wood slices that we need for our 8 cards in the Stampin' Stack. Now, I separated this and did it twice in the videos so that you would have the opportunity to see twice. But if you're doing this as a Stampin' Stack and you're doing all 8, then you want to do all these wood slices all at one time, assemble them, and do like batch work. All right, so let's go ahead and assemble these. I'm going to set this aside. Now we're going to match our insides with our outsides. I find that easier if I line them up size-wise. I'm going to get some liquid glue and find those same characteristics that we use to line up the dies, those little protrusions. We're going to line those up, then and kind of dry fit, then add adhesive and glue them down. Here's that little flat spot I was talking about. There's the flat spot. So you start to recognize these little details, these little features a lot quicker as you make more and more of these little slices. They're such good embellishments with anything. Think of all your little woodland animals, your little woodland botanicals, the mushrooms, the gnomes. These are fantastic with the gnomes. It's just a really awesome tool, this or set of tools, really. The embossing folder, the hybrid with the dies that work together. All right, so you've seen that it bundles up with the Ring with Nature stamp set. That's what we're going to use here. So let's go ahead and grab some ink pads and Stampin' Pierce mat. It's a photopolymer set. All right, in your kit, you're going to have a 3/8 by 3 inch strip. Then you're going to have half sheets of basic white. And as you go, you're going to use those up, of course. So we're going to use those half sheets for our stamping and these 3/8 by 3 inch pieces for our greetings. I've got Night of Navy, Poppy Parade, and Soft Suede. Our greeting is Happy Anniversary this time. Of course, you can do these all Get Well, or you could do the Get Well ones all Happy Anniversary. Whatever you need. This Stampin' Stack is designed so that you can just take some time out for yourself this time of year and replenish the cards that you might need for your own sending. All right, so Happy Anniversary is a little bit to the right, so we have room for our acorns. We're going to do a little Poppy Parade heart. Nice. And a house. I've got a Night of Navy house this time. I love this little house. I wish Stampin' Up! Would have a whole village of these little houses. Tall ones, skinny ones, wide ones. I want a whole village. The simple stamping with the 2 different colors, the easy cutout. They're just so cute. All right, let's get this. When I line up the roof, I do the house first and then the roof. I find it's easier that way. I hover the stamp so that I cannot see any space between the house and the roof. And usually that'll give me just the perfect little line that differentiates the roof from the house. Looks pretty good. Let's get this out of here. And we're going to fussy cut our house and heart. It's a pretty simple cutout. The edges are not perfectly straight, so I'm kind of following that. I don't know that. Do you see? It's not a perfectly straight line, so I'm doing a little bit of a wobble cut around it and leaving a small white edge. And I'm going to do the same thing with the heart. All right, there's our stamped images. Let's bring our card base back in here on Designer Series paper. Now we have got from the Ringed with Love Designer Series paper. This was exclusive to Celebration. And then we've got a piece from Gingham Cottage. This is the Mint Macron design. These are both 1 by 5 inch. We're going to go ahead and adhere those down to the card base. Let's get our sample back in here too. I just love this paper. See, this one has houses in different sizes and shapes, and I wish there was a stamp set. Too cute. I like to put my glue, kind of set the pieces, and then have just a second to slide them so I can scooch them together, lift one up or down, change my tilt a little bit, and then burnish. We're also going to add our little wood cutout now. We're going to use that middle largest. Add that on with some liquid glue. Love it. You really do. All right. Now let's do our botanicals. So we're going to do some die cuts and color them so they have kind of a watercolor look. I did the duplicate ones already. I did the sprig and the little acorn. Now we're going to do the rest of them. We're going to start with basic white cardstock. You've got that basic white cardstock in your kit. It's the half sheets. We're going to cut and then color, and it gives us just a really cool watercolor look that goes great with that watercolor designer series paper. All right, we need another sprig, a branch, and an acorn. We did this little chart for you with the dies and how many of each you'll need for the Stamp-A-Stack. So if you want to do all your die cutting at one time, it'll be much easier with the little chart. That is Katie and Jackie all the way. They took care of that for you so that your cards could be just like mine if you want them to. Now, of course, you can be a paper florist if you want to and do any of the little botanical pieces that you want. Maybe you want mushrooms instead of acorns. Maybe you don't want any berry sprigs. You can do whatever you want to. But if you want your cards to be just like mine, that little list on the photograph there will help you to recreate mine as closely as possible. All right, so we've got our bits. Let's get them out of the dies, and we're going to color them with Stampin' Blend markers. It's going to be glorious. If you've got dies that are kind of stuck, or die cuts that are kind of stuck in the die, I like to use a little low-tack tape and then just pull, and the die cut will usually come right out of the die without any poking or prodding or scraping. All right, we've got 4 little bits to color, and let me grab those, and let me grab my samples that are already colored. All right, so for our sprig with the berries, we're going to use soft suede, Night of Navy, and Parakeet Party. I like to start from the center with the soft suede, and on these small little sprigs, I like to use the bullet tip on the dark, and I can still pretty well get away with the brush tip on the light. And we're going to swipe down the branch and add some soft suede. Then once we've done the soft suede down the branch, then you're going to pick a side. I tend to go with the left side, because if you always put your shadows down the same side, then the eye doesn't say, what's going on there? Something's not quite right. Your brain will pick it up, even if you don't know exactly what it is. So keep your shadows to one side, and then you don't have to think too hard about light source or anything else. And there is a little berry on the lower part of the branch there. Don't color it brown. Can't tell you how many I colored brown before I got the hang of it. Now we're going to do our leaves. And our leaves are our Parakeet Party. I got light Parakeet Party. We're just going to swipe over and color them entirely. And then take dark Parakeet Party and go kind of out from the center on these leaves and give them just a little bit of shadow. Blend it together. We've got the Parakeet Party open. So let's go ahead and do these leaves. Same thing, swipe it with the light. And then shadow with the dark. And then just gently kind of touch and bring the two together. Just want to melt it a little bit. All right, I'm going to swap back to my browns, my soft suedes, and I'm going to color my branch. This is exactly the same as the sprig branch, so we'll do the same thing. I'm going to slide that one. It's completely ready. And we're going to do the top of our acorn since we've got the suede markers in hand. And we'll swipe the whole acorn top with the soft suede. Here's where I'm going to use the brush. And I'm going to go down the left side of the acorn top and then kind of switch directions and go across the bottom. Bring that all together with the light marker. And there is our acorn top. Now we're going to bring in our Night of Navy for the berries and just hold the stem and cover the entire berry with the blue. This is the light Night of Navy. Don't forget that little berry that's kind of down the stem. Then we're going to take dark Night of Navy and just do like a little cup, little swoop, little upside down C shadow across the bottom of each berry. And the space is so small that'll blend just fine on its own. Last little watercolor piece. Now we've got sprigs and we've got berries. We've got our acorn top. Now let's do our acorn bottom. And for our acorn bottom, we're going to do crumb cake. We're going to color this acorn bottom entirely. Give it a good coat of light crumb cake. Now we've done the left side of the top, acorn top, so we're going to do the left side of the acorn bottom with our shadow. Keep those shadow sides consistent, and then just blend those two together. You can go back along the very edge of your acorn, kind of deepen the shadow. There it is. There is our coloring. I hope that you're really enjoying this watercolor effect. It's been a little bit different from my usual style, from my usual way of doing things, and I am enjoying it immensely and hope that you are too. All right, let's assemble our acorn. I like to just get a little bead of glue at the tip and then spread along the edge of the acorn. And we're going to put the acorns on with some Stampin' Dimensionals. So we'll reinforce that on the back. I've got the regular ones and they're cut in half. What I'm going to do is just line that up nice and straight where I want it and pop a little dimensional over the seam. And we'll do that for both of our acorns. We'll bring our card base back in here and all of our bits. Let's grab some embellishments. We've got this beautiful early espresso suede ribbon, and we've got some gorgeous rustic natural linen thread. I love the textures with the different embossed variations of that folder. It's just all the textures are really starting to come together now. You're going to need about 7 inches of ribbon. So you could cut that off and then fold it in half. We're going to have a loop on one end and tails on the other. The tails, we're going to take the linen thread and about, I don't know, 3/8 of an inch, not quite half an inch really, we're going to tie. So cinch that good. And then I'm going to loop, swoop, tuck and pull. We'll have a nice linen thread bow. And we can cut that away. So much fun. I'm going to grab a little piece of tear and tape here. I'm going to run it across right below my wood slice. Remove the liner. You could also use mini glue dots. You've seen me do that in the other designs in this card class. Adhere that to the tear and tape. Now we're going to grab more Stampin' Dimensionals here. I'm going to go down. You know what I'm going to do? These are perfect. I'm going to grab these little edges, separate them into a little bit less than half dimensionals. And we're going to put some of that on the back of Happy Anniversary. And we're going to put some of that on the back of our house. I'm going to add a little piece onto my heart too. Now, all my dimensionals are sticky. Let's go ahead and lay on the house and the Happy Anniversary. Then from there, we're going to bring our sprigs in. And I like to do the sprigs with 2 layers or 2 levels of adhesive. I'm putting some liquid glue right on the stems of my branch and my sprigs. I'm going to pop one branch right up from the Happy Anniversary here. Let it snug up to the house. And then I'm going to pop on my acorns. Don't cover the greeting. They're the next layer here. Now we can go in with the sprigs and tuck those. Let that bit of glue that's on the stem grab. And then once you've got that grabbed, let's put a little heart on the acorns. And we've got little strips. So I showed you in earlier videos that I was cutting the edge right off of the dimensionals, getting these little strips. So you just go along the edge and cut a narrow strip. Then you can take those narrow strips and cut some little squares or little rectangles. We'll maybe do 4 of them because we're going to use these to reinforce that hold on our branches. Add a little square of dimensional and then stick that down. So now it's secured on one level at the stem. It's on the flat level, and then at the end of the branch, at the leaves, at the tips of the leaves, it's up a level on dimensional. So it's going to give you a lot of natural flow. It's going to look very botanical and natural, but you're also going to have secure elements. So when you add that dimensional, it's not just hanging on by that bit of multi-purpose liquid glue that you put at the end of the stem. All right, one more little bit here. I seem to have lost my 4th bit. Oh, no, I didn't. It's right there. Put one more little bit underneath the leaf on this branch. There it is. I love this card. I just really do. All right, let's give our bow a little finesse and a trim. The one side's a little long. I grab my embellishments here. We've been using the brushed brass butterflies and the iridescent gems. Got my take your pick tool. And now we're going to add some amazing fire, some great texture. I did a large one. I'm going to do 2 small ones right there. We're going to have 3 kind of going up and away from our botanicals, and we're going to have a medium one and a small one kind of going down and away, and that brings the shine and the fire. Then we're going to grab the brass butterflies, and that's going to add another color and texture and a different sort of shine. That's it. You guys, we are 3 cards into our Ringed with Nature series. If you've got questions about the Stamp-A-Stack class or the project, email marissa@kitchentablestamper.com. To shop Stampin' Up! 24/7, buzz over to marissaelvarez.stampinup.net. And to get a class packet while supplies are available, buzz over to kitchentablestamper.com/shop and click on the right-hand filter. There's a drop-down menu. Click class packets and you'll be able to see if we have any of the optional class packet left. All right, you guys, I am so excited to be almost done with this series of gorgeous cards. I hope you're enjoying it. I'll see you in video number 4, where we'll make the final card, this Thinking of You card. All right, guys, I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.